All right. An error occurred. Wait a moment, then try again. Looks like uh trying to get live on X, guys. Here we go. There we go. Now we're going live. We're live everywhere. Sweet. Cool. Oh, earthquake. Hi, we're here with Dr. Brian Downs, the second time.
Good to be back.
Yeah, we're here with giving back to the students of chiropractic for all you Life University, Palmer, Sherman, what else? Western State,
Yes, freaking Life West,
Life West.
Palmer, Florida,
Yeah,
wherever you may be.
yeah,
Bridgeport, yeah.
yeah, wherever you may be. This is for you on how to be successful as a chiropractic doctor going from university into the workforce.
Yep.
So,
So I think that's a really important transition. I've had the pleasure of being around people who are going into chiropractic school like Dalton, and also being exposed to a number of peak students over the past few years who are making that transition of end of school into becoming a chiropractor, as well as experiencing that myself, of course. So I think that's a really important transition that can't be emphasized enough, because not that it's a make or break transition, but I think you can definitely ease that transition and really make the early part of your career successful, rather than learning lessons the hard way and then having to revisit things and you find that success later on.
right. What was it like for you to come from Life University? Like, how did you end up picking the place that you wanted to peak at?
So I picked the place I wanted to peak at. I got the referral from actually Dr. Chris DiCarlo, my chiropractor back home in New York, and someone who helped me get into school, someone who's a part of the elite coaching community. And I know he runs a successful practice. So I really just trusted his judgment completely when it came to things like that. And so he referred me to a good friend of his, Dr. Kyle Fogel, as I was getting to that point in my school career. And I think the way it happened was I was walking back from outpatient clinic at Life University. I got a call from Dr. Chris. He said, "Hey, I got a buddy that needs a peak student." And I told him, "Hey, I'm available. Just tell him to give me a call." And I think as soon as I hung up with Dr. Chris, Dr. Fogel called me.
Nice.
And that was maybe on a Wednesday or Thursday. And by the next Monday, I was in there shadowing. That was at the end of, what would it be? So there's 14 quarters. That was the end of 12th quarter. And then for 13th and 14th quarter, so 6 months total, I was over at Dr. Fogel's office.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's been an amazing experience.
I know, because you're from New York.
Yes.
So you staying with Dr. Fogel, you've been here
Yeah.
since.
Yeah.
I mean, was
Yeah.
that in your outline?
That was not in my plan. Now, I came down to Atlanta to go to school, not with the intention of staying in Atlanta, but I guess also be open to the idea that after school, it could take me anywhere. And one of those options being staying in Atlanta. And so one of the reasons I did that, I was actually just talking to Dr. Fall about that the other night, is the experience that I had in his clinic was so amazing, because I feel like in 6 months, I had learned more than I had in school for the previous 3 years.
Yeah.
And that's not to say that school wasn't important, because it obviously gave me the foundation to pick up and learn those things in his office. But truly, the true learning doesn't begin until you're in practice, because then it's reality. But being in a practice so close to how I envisioned my journey as a chiropractor, it really taught me a lot. And then what really got me to stay in that office was, one, the connections that I made. I think being there for 6 months, I don't know, because there's some students who double peak do the 3 month course, but being there for 6 months and becoming a part of that practice, it felt very difficult for me to just up and go, because I had already felt like I had planted roots there and I was a part of that practice. So it only made sense to stay.
Yeah. All right. So then is that what you would suggest for students, is to just like, how are they going to bridge the gap where they're trying to understand what they want to learn, like just as a whole, like, okay, maybe they want to learn CBP, maybe they want to learn AK, maybe they want to learn functional medicine. There's so many things that they could be like, well, these are the things that are important to me. Like, then to find a doctor who's like aligned with the way they want to practice.
Yeah.
And then maybe the third thing is like location.
Yeah.
Like what would you rank as like the most important aspects of choosing a place to peak?
I would say first and foremost is the relationship that you're going to build with that doctor as your mentor, because you're effectively choosing your teacher for however long that may be.
Yeah.
And you want to pick somebody that you can learn from and that has that wealth of knowledge to pass on to you. Second would be the type of practice. I really can't emphasize enough that students need to pick a practice that is as close as possible to how they envision themselves practicing. I think I see sometimes students may pick offices out of convenience. For instance, down here in Atlanta, they might be living near life and they just pick the closest office to them. Or
Right.
and you really are selling yourself short on what that experience can be. If you need to travel, you have to be open to that. That's kind of getting towards the third aspect of location. But you need to find somewhere where you're gonna learn on the job exactly how you envision yourself doing things, because that's really going to help the transition, because you can't go from one style of practice, one style of adjusting, one office system,
Yeah.
and mindset, to then go say, okay, now I'm going to start over again and have to learn all these things all over again. Utilize those 3 to 6 months, squeeze it for everything that you can, so that once you're able to practice, whether that be going out on your own, going to another office that's very similar, or even staying in that office, you can easily transition into practice.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing about traveling for education. I mean, I'm traveling, yeah, nearly every weekend because this is where I just have to go somewhere else. It's not always in Atlanta, the thing that I want to learn. So it's like I'm flying to California or Phoenix or Vegas or Miami or freaking Chicago, wherever.
Yep.
And taking the limitations off geographically really is such a
Yeah.
cool thing because a lot of the times I'm like finding places that are just sick. I didn't even know.
Yep.
Like Atlanta is that. Yeah. I mean, I only came here to Life U because Fred was like, just go to Life. It's the best college. And I was
Vegas. I'm from New York, and we made the decision that the location was not as important as the substance. Like, what are you getting out of that experience? I'm the same way. When I was in school, went to Chicago for that when Fred used to do the elite annual, yeah, separate from the boot camps. He used to have that in Chicago, so doing that, going to Boise to learn CBP, doing AK seminars. Luckily, that was close. That was here at Life. I would say that is one advantage to locating yourself near a college. Is
so
you had access to so many seminars where you're not having to travel quite as much to do the seminars. But regardless, you have to do those events. You have to get out and you have to learn more. Kind of going back to what I was saying is that peak experience, the last 6 months of school and the first 6 months out of school, you have to really immerse yourself in that learning environment outside of your standard school experience. The coaches who are going to teach you the mindset, they're going to teach you the systems, the mentors like Dr. Fogel, who are going to teach you the clinical application of chiropractic and how you truly help people. That has to be the utmost priority. And you're going to have to travel. You're going to have to maybe live somewhere that you didn't expect to live.
yeah.
But it's all worth it.
No, for sure. Absolutely. That's gotta be something that people are identifying in their set of skills. Like maybe, some people go through chiropractic school and like they're incredible adjusters. And like, so maybe picking an office where somebody's a great adjuster may be not as beneficial as somebody coming out of school who still doesn't know how to adjust.
Yeah.
You need to go to somebody who can teach you how to do that. Maybe you're an incredible adjuster, and then you're like, I don't understand CBP. So you need to go to somebody who's like super high level and make it easy for you to understand.
Or I don't know how to get patients to adjust. It's one thing to be a great adjuster, but if you can't get a patient to lay on the table,
Yeah.
it doesn't matter how good of an adjuster you are.
Yeah, right. And depending on like, so this is where like with Grant Cardone and the 10X platform, we start with targets, like what life you want to live. And Fred DiDomenico, Dr. Fred DiDomenico talks about this in elite coaching as well, where he goes, start out with what life do you want to live? What kind of lifestyle do you want to live? I mean, you ask your patients this question, you ask yourself this question, you go, okay, well, if your idea of a piece of heaven is having a spouse with children and, whatever great place that you want to live, if you want to live in the city, if you want to live in the country, those are going to be wildly different practices that you may have to build. So thinking, well, what life do I want to live? Like taking it back and taking all the chiropractic out of it and go, okay, well, what is really going to help me accomplish where I see myself going? If you want to have a certain income or if you want to help a certain community, like if you want to help a community in a rural area, then you probably, if you go to the city and you learn how to bring patients in the city, it's going to be vastly different than like if everybody's got to drive miles to get to your practice. So you may want to put yourself in a position where you're either after peak going to go work with a doctor in a rural area. So maybe you could take some of the city ways to like network and get referrals in a more high volume practice. Maybe that'd be advantageous. So it's like, it's kind of hard to give everybody a blanket path to figure out what it is that you want, because it might be totally different. Maybe you want 6 figures, maybe you want 7 figures in your bank account. The people you practice with and the people you get around, you'll learn how to do what they're accomplishing. And just because a practice brings in millions of dollars doesn't actually mean that the doctor is taking home that either. So like asking questions about understanding business can be advantageous if that's what you're wanting to do. If your primary goal is just to serve people and you're not really worried about having a massive income, then like find a doctor who's more geared towards that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you just have to. I think the only blanket statement you can apply to this situation is, like you said, you just have to ask yourself what life you want to live and then work backwards from there. And then you fill in the gaps. Like you were saying, it's what type of community do you want to serve? Because the type of community will drive understanding value systems.
Yeah.
Do your values align with the people in that community? And are you going to be able to communicate those things? For instance, going from living in a city to then going to living in a rural community, I actually remember this Fred talking when he went from living in California to living in North Carolina. Just his pace of life was different. The way he spoke, the speed that he spoke, it was almost too fast for the people that he was working with. And so you have to understand how you're going to communicate with your target audience. And so that's very important to understand. And then as well is, like Dalton said, is learning how you want to practice and what that truly entails. For instance, if you're only going to adjust, then hey, you're going to have a low overhead. You have your rent and you have your table, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
But then if you're going to go to the complete opposite end of the spectrum, kind of similar to our office, where you have not only straight chiropractic, you have corrective CBP care, you have multiple modalities that we offer, such as laser therapy, stem wave, light therapy, and then adding on top of that functional nutrition, anti-aging, hormones. That's a totally different ballgame.
Yeah.
And you can't go from one model to the other and expect the lessons you learned in one to translate to the other.
Right. Yeah, totally. The thing is like this lifestyle that you'll choose to live could, the range is like wide, like incredibly wide. I mean, at the point of going from school to realizing that you're going to probably land in one of two areas. You're either going to work for a doctor or you're going to be a business owner and work for yourself. Like you'll be an employee as like an independent contractor, or you'll be running a business. And those two, maybe at first choosing to be an independent contractor may be an easier start. If you're going to be an entrepreneur and a business owner, like you already you're like, hey, I'm going to fail forward, and you're willing to take a few licks to,
Yeah, and you're gonna have you learn. You're gonna learn real time.
do I? Yeah, yeah. not to say it's not possible, because it absolutely is. What's the guy's name who does Luke wrote? Jeremy.
Yeah. Yes, Jeremiah.
Jeremiah, yeah. He had 400 patients walk in the door on day one of his chiropractic practice, but he was already starting to build his practice, just doing like screenings before he was waiting for his license. So that dude's an entrepreneur through and through. He knew it from the start. So if that's you, maybe less of you, but if that's you, you probably already know. And if it's not you, then you may want to like find somebody who is an incredible entrepreneur and see if that's the route that you want to go, or if you just want to like contribute to an already thriving practice and maybe work towards, ownership in some way.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think no matter what, both of those situations, you're going to need to have mentors and coaches.
So yeah,
Whether it's going to be an independent contractor, an associate, obviously part of that mentorship is going to come through the owner of that clinic, the head doc there. Or if you guys do a coaching group, the way we do elite coaching. We also work with CJ Mertz. There's always going to be someone that you're learning from. But I would say is if you do choose to go and open up on your own right off the gate, is you do need to acknowledge that you will definitely need coaching.
yeah, for
You
sure.
have to. And that's not even to say that students can't do that, because there's plenty of students that do that and do that successfully. But the most successful people, not only in chiropractic, everybody has coaches.
Yeah, I mean, at the highest level.
Yeah, your coaches have coaches.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. I was just gonna say. I mean,
And even they might not even view them as coaches, but they're like-minded individuals. There's peers. I know Dr. Fred does his podcast with Dr. Joe Borio.
yeah,
It's somebody who's at another high level
yeah,
that has just the brain and the mindset to bounce ideas off of, to collaborate, to push more growth. That's always important.
well, it's fun to also have like a little bit of like healthy competition in a way of just like your friends are being successful and you're like, fuck, I want to do that. Exactly. Just kind of pushes you like, how you doing that? Yeah, like
And I think chiropractic is very much like other industries where the cream rises to the top, and you have to surround yourself with high level individuals. You mentioned Grant Cardone. I've heard from multiple people that Grant Cardone would be an amazing chiropractor because he's just a high level individual and just the way he communicates. But the thing is, when you're in practice, and I know this from 6 years of experience, the people that walk in your door, we have to see the best in them, but you will not always be surrounded by high level, high vibration individuals. And if you don't intentionally put yourself around those types of people,
yeah.
you will burn out.
Yeah, I think this is a good next segue into what happens if you let yourself like make choices based off of fear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like the one thing that we're talking about is community, like a strong community.
You have to.
In this, we're saying, hey, if you have a strong community, there's no place but up to go. And the same is true if you have a community that is super dysregulated or chaotic. You pick somebody that is like, oh, what do you say? All right. Okay. Sorry. You got a cat banging on the doors. It's okay. But if you got a community that people are super dysregulated and they're chaotic, they don't have a strong business, they're always trying to chase, either they're trying to pay people all the time to get patients in the door, or like they're trying to hustle hard and like, I don't know, some other thing other than chiropractic because they have to have money.
Yeah.
I think that finances are such a massive indicator of energy.
Yeah.
Like the energy that a doctor brings to the clinic there's got to be a massive correlation of like what their financial health is.
Yeah.
You know? For sure, because you talk to people differently when you're desperate for money, and
It's all about energy exchange. If you look at that, that's what financial exchanges are. It's an energy exchange, whether it be the doctor to a patient. I'm pouring energy into them, the only way for them at that point to pour energy back into me is a financial transaction. But going off what Dalton said is one of the biggest things that I think hinders a practice is low energy will not bring in financial reward because like you said, you're operating out of fear is if you have a poor financial situation, how can you go in, especially for someone practicing CDP, then present an $8,000 care plan to somebody if they don't have that energy. They're in you know, um, a losing state. They're in fight or flight because of their financial situation. So that's super important. And the only way for you to get yourself out of that rut, especially after school, because depending on where you're at, student loans, all those things that you're gonna have to start paying back. The overhead, if you're gonna open up your own office, is you really have to make sure that that point in your life, your financial situation doesn't translate over into you growing a practice because there has to be that synchronization of energy of a optimistic mindset, a growth mindset, and if you're always operating from as a deficit, it's not going to translate into success.
Totally. Totally. This is the truth.
Hmm.
You know, one thing that I think is important for students to understand is like, how do you identify somebody who has healthy financial habits in business? Like for me, I like to work with people who are just open about what their finances are. I mean, I'm not afraid to be told no. I'm not afraid to like ask somebody a challenging question and not get an answer. I'm like, hey, how much money do you make?
Yeah.
Like I just want to know because I'm picking it. And some people may get offended by that because whatever beliefs that they have, but it's like the person who's not offended by it and will show you what they make, like I would rather work for somebody who's open in that way because I just want to know what I'm learning.
Yeah.
Like if somebody is not willing to show you that, it could be because they just prefer to be private or because they're um, whatever, they just don't believe in that, or maybe they feel embarrassed or whatever the case may be. Like I'd rather just choose the guy who is showing me like, hey, this is what it is, because everything that is happening in that practice equals this outcome.
Hmm.
It's like you could walk into a practice and be like, man, it feels incredible in here. But then you look at this financial statement and it's like, but it doesn't match. How could this be like such a extravagant place when really, you're bringing home, it's not matching,
Yeah.
or you have a doctor who's like falling out in all these ways where, maybe the lifestyle that the doctor is living isn't creating like generational wealth. It's just, very, flashy or however that goes. Like
Yeah.
just understanding what you guys want.
Yeah. And I think maybe too that kind of going back to what we were talking about earlier is not only finding a practice that you'll learn from just in the practice, pick a doctor who's living a lifestyle that you want to live.
Yeah.
How they are outside of the office, say, where they put their energy outside of the office, how much of that is devoted to bringing energy back into the office, and then like you were talking about, just that financial transparency, that's something that you have to be clear with your mentor, with your coach, with other members of your team in the office, because honestly, that's something that you're gonna have to be very transparent with your patients.
Yeah.
When you talked about that, that reminded me of when I sit and do a financial with a patient is, some people, depending on our care plans, if they have the financial means, if they're devoted to their health, if they're 100% devoted to regaining their health, it's 100% they're all in. And you always walk into a financial thinking the patient is all in. They're all in until they're all out.
Yeah.
If you go in there thinking that you're going to have to convince them, then you're going there with the wrong energy.
Right.
But getting back to the financial situation is some people, depending on what they do, they could be in just their occupation. They could have other debts elsewhere. They don't have the financial means to do your care plan that you present.
Yeah, right.
Now, it's very important to understand that does not end the conversation there. Is then, you can't be afraid to ask somebody, "What do you have? What do you have
Yeah,
as savings?"
right.
You know, because the most important thing is making it work. And that's something that even I myself, when I first started doing financials, I might not have been fully comfortable saying to somebody. But now I'll bring that up without them even bringing it up, because you want to remove the swords from the table.
Yeah.
You wanted to make it 100% about regaining health, um, having a growth mindset, not just for their health, but because you know what a healthy lifestyle is going to create for these patients. And it's very liberating for you as well too, because if you're able to talk about finances freely,
Yeah.
it's the people that are very withdrawn. It's usually people that are very unhappy with their financial situation. And unless you're open about it
Yeah.
and seeking help, because you can't stop seeking help, whether that be, somebody, a financial advisor, or somebody who has a practice that is very successful financially. You have to have those conversations. That's the only way it's going to change.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing too, so then what's the bridge between figuring out how can you present a care plan that is more expensive than maybe you would have purchased on your own? The thing is how much do you value chiropractic? Like, how do you see chiropractic? Is it that valuable to you? And the reality is I think that sometimes people, doctors don't see chiropractic that valuable. Like, how do you not understand that it is?
Yeah.
We had a conversation with a couple of the patients at Dr. Fogel's at one point. There was a husband and a wife. They were coming in, and he like went to go pick up a pencil and threw out his back.
Hmm.
Right, and I was going over a financial with him, and for him and his wife, it was going to be $14,000, something like that.
Yeah.
And he's like, "How am I going to do this? We just spent for a whole vacation going to wherever they were going, and I can't do this." And I'm like, "Well, you just told me you're about to go fly on an airplane,
Yeah.
a 10-hour flight, and go jump around in the ocean and do all these things, and you can't pick up a pencil without throwing out your back.
Hmm.
Like, are you sure you're gonna be able to make the flight there?
Hmm.
Because you're gonna have to sit for 10 hours.
Yeah.
I mean, like, realistically, dude, like, you can't pick up a pencil, you wanna go play around in the ocean and jump off of things, this is crazy, it's crazy. So, like, are you sure that you're gonna be able to enjoy that trip? You just spent all this money with your family, you wanna have a good time, but you can't even pick up a pencil.
Yeah.
So, to me, it sounds like this is your only option. Like, in order to enjoy that trip, you have to do this now. Like, now you have less time.
Yeah.
So you gotta get started. And so we kinda went back and forth a little bit, but then he was like, trying to just, he was just pointing out some of the ways that I was communicating with him, and I was fired up. I'm like, "Dude,
Yeah.
you're not gonna be able to do this, bro." And I'm like, he goes, "Well, it's expensive." And Dr. Fogel always says, "Expensive compared to what?" Yeah, and I go, "Expensive compared to what? How much are you gonna have to pay?" I told him, I said, "You are gonna go to the hospital because you're gonna need surgery."
And this is gonna be your ambulance trip to the hospital.
Yeah.
This is gonna be the goal for that.
Yeah, it's not even gonna be the surgery that you're gonna be required to have, and that surgery is not gonna keep you in the way that you will be if you just show up.
Yeah.
So it's literally probably 10% of what the surgery that you're gonna need is, if or if you have some sort of heart attack or something, some sort of stroke, because his spine was not set up for health. So I'm like, hopefully you enjoy this trip because it might be the last one you ever have with your family if you don't do this. And this is me understanding, dude, you got a spine and nervous system. The way that his spine was set up, it was, it was life and death for this man.
And for most people, it is. The cool thing is that there's still patients, and they've not only made that initial investment in their health, but they've continued to invest in their health, which I think is an amazing thing. You see the transition mindset there. But to me, it's the deal of a lifetime. Like you said, it's 10% of that financial burden that would be the surgery. And so I think me and you mention this all the time, because sometimes we discuss finances with other docs at the elite boot camps,
Mhm.
and not just with elite, but all around the country. You hear what people are charging for their care plans, and sometimes you're like, well, that's your problem. You guys are undervaluing chiropractic.
Yeah. I mean, there's got to be some way to compare this. You know what I mean? Like, what is the cost of having a stroke and then like the side of your face is drooped for the rest of your life? Like, like what is that emotional cost actually plus a hospital visit?
Mhm.
So you go to a hospital visit, then half your face is drooping and sucks for the rest of your life. Like this is real.
Yeah.
Like what is it what does it cost for all whatever medications you're on, whether it's for digestion or you got headaches or you got asthma or allergies, like
Yep.
what if your kidneys aren't functioning? I mean, like, what if you got diabetes? Like,
Well, look what people will shell out for that surgery, the monthly cost for prescriptions. They'll pay an extreme amount of money because they believe that it will work. And that's the problem is with chiropractors who shortchange themselves by not charging enough.
yeah,
It directly goes back to your conviction is if you don't believe in what you're providing, you're not going to charge correctly for your care.
right. There's on a positive note, if any of you know Dr. Jason Yeager, he's like going up to bat politically for chiropractic. And in Nevada, he was been working with the politics out there to help chiropractors now in the state of Nevada will have equal pay from insurance for the same uh, treatments.
Mhm.
So, like before, medical doctors and osteopaths were getting paid more than chiropractors for the exact same service
Yep.
by insurance. So, thank you, Dr. Jason.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%. That's huge.
that's gonna start changing things like all over the place now. So, there was a time in the '80s that we all hear about, the Mercedes '80s,
He gloried as a chiropractor.
where chiropractors were getting paid well from the insurance. This is also the whole thing, right? Where like, through time, these chiropractors made less money from insurance because, you know, the insurance companies aren't making money with healed people.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. It's like,
It's true.
yeah.
A healthy person is not a good insurance customer.
Yeah, it's not a good business to have the world be healthy. But this is why we got to come back, guys. We got to make chiropractic lucrative for everybody.
Yeah, yeah, because you're offering one of the greatest services known to man. Not just getting people healthy, but keeping healthy people healthy.
Yeah.
That's so, underutilized in terms of practices. The best thing that chiropractors do isn't healing sick people, it's keeping healthy people healthy because nobody else does that.
Yeah. Yeah. It's so true.
Yeah.
I mean, hey, we've been in lots of traumatic events and, we got good x-rays.
So, but we continue to work on that. It's a
Yeah. I mean, the first thing I think of whenever I'm feeling I feel like I can feel millimeters off.
yeah.
I'm like, no, it's something fucked up.
Yeah.
Got it got change
C5, IDC.
and do all kinds of crazy things to figure it out on my own. Maybe that's not the best thing, but then I can go head over to Dr. B and just
Solve it. We solve it. There's a table right behind the computer right now. I'm probably gonna have Dalton and Dust me.
yeah, I like it. We got it. In the apartment, guys. No shortage of chiropractic in the home place. So there we go. Nice.
So kind of like getting back, I know we went on that financial tangent, but what that all comes back to in terms of students is that's the biggest thing because if you look at why you're getting into this profession, it's one to be a chiropractor, but two, it's you're making a career out of it.
Yeah.
So how can you truly make this a career? Because there's nothing worse, nothing sadder than when I hear of somebody who left the chiropractic profession to pursue something different because they couldn't make it as a chiropractor. And I think oftentimes it's not for lack of skill as a chiropractor, because I'm sure some of them have been amazing chiropractors. It's just lack of understanding of how to share that with people. They, like I said before, they couldn't get people on the table. They couldn't get them to continue wellness care because they may have not had the conviction in themselves, the conviction in chiropractic, or they just didn't know how to communicate that efficiently.
Right. Hey, I see one person here that's been here for a long time. Can you just like drop your name in the comment section so we can say hello to you? just to do it. I know you've been watching for a while. I want to know who it is. It doesn't tell me who it is, but if you drop your name in the comments, we'll know.
Unless you want to be private. So it's like, well,
Yeah. So what I was thinking about when you're just saying this is that uh Amari's a little wow. There you go.
you missed, fella.
Yeah, he should be walking through the door right there. Hopefully soon, or she's at a coffee shop drinking matcha. Just
That sounds good.
yeah.
That does sound any. We all were just talking on the way up from the parking lot about how much we enjoy the ritual of coffee,
Yeah, pretty good.
the elixir.
Pretty good. Yeah. So here's how it goes, guys. One thing that I was thinking about when you're talking about like people leaving chiropractic for something else,
Mhm.
chiropractic has so many aspects of like what you can do.
Yeah.
This is the thing too, guys. Like, if you are like, man, I want to do so many things, and you're trying to find a doctor who does 10 things, maybe just pick like the one that's going to make the greatest impact towards that lifestyle that you want first.
Yeah.
Because the thing is like, I mean, you're very fortunate to choose shoot, I'm blanking on Dr.
Chris.
Dr. Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah. To have Dr. Chris just be like, hey, you got to go to Dr. Fogel.
Yeah. Well, he sent me to Life and then to Dr. Fogel. So is that an amazing impact on my chiropractic trajectory?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's super fortunate. So hopefully that happens to you guys too. You guys just find like a dialed in chiropractor who has a space. And this is the thing. If you put your intention out there, like the world's going to give you that opportunity. You got to write it down.
Yeah.
I mean, we do this all the time. I got a book over there. I write shit in it every day.
Yeah.
So like, understand that also you're going to have to pay for your education after school.
Yeah.
If you want to like learn all these things, like I love animals. I want to do the animal chiropractic. I don't want to be like I don't want to be adjusting animals only.
Yeah.
Or like as high primary thing. Like I just want to learn.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, like I want to go adjust a giraffe. That looks cool, man.
Yeah. I think animals are cooler than people.
Yeah.
People can be difficult.
Give a giraffe knocks, but lift. I've been on 10 or I'd have to I gotta get back
Up on a ladder, standing on a balcony like this. It's just this is a very cool time for chiropractic because I think it is just poised to explode in terms of become a primary mode of healthcare for people. And the cool thing about the underutilization of chiropractic is people are so unselfish when it comes to chiropractic. When you find that mentor that you resonate with, there's so many people within chiropractic that are willing to help young chiropractors, students, because it's not competition. You know, the percent of the U.S. population that sees a chiropractor is overwhelmingly low. You know, there's so many people that we still have to go out and reach and give the message of chiropractic to, that having more good chiropractors come into this profession is only going to help everybody. So those peak students, like we're having a set of peak students who just finished up with us last week.
Yeah.
I want more to come in next week because it just means that if they learn how we do things, which I believe is the best way to do things, if you want to practice like us, that's the important part. If you want to practice the way we do, it's a great place to learn. That way they can go out and create similar practices and help people the same way we do. Because there's way too few chiropractors. So just if there's any chiropractic students watching, is the way we practice is a combination of applied kinesiology, chiropractic biophysics, and functional medicine. And the reason why we do that is because we're truly hitting all aspects of what's making our population so sick and diseased these days. It's chiropractic, no matter what, whether it be just the adjustment, is going to help people regardless because it's going to allow that energy to flow. It's going to allow every other organ, tissue, cell in the body to receive that vital energy that it needs to be healthy rather than sick. But at the same time, the reason why that's not all that we do is because it's no secret that we're living in the most unhealthy time in humanity. Because although we have all this technology, we're also exposed to the most amount of toxins, the most amount of
It's kind of like both, right?
harmful.
It can be as healthy as possible, and it could be like
The spectrum is wide. We have people that are super healthy and also people that are super sick, and they stay sick because the model that's been built up to this point
failed.
has failed. It's created people that are sick for a very long time. Some people their entire lives. And chiropractic and corrective chiropractic is the only way to fix that. Now, when you get that energy flowing and you allow every organ, tissue, cell in your body to receive that, the next step is giving it the proper nutrients, because that's one of the biggest toxicities that we're exposed to is what we eat, what we put on our body, all these chemicals that we come in contact with. It's pouring more toxins in than we could ever detox without intentionally detoxing. So the functional nutrition allows people to detox, and it also makes sure that they're getting all the nutrients that unfortunately are non-existent in our food supply today.
Yeah.
So that's just a little rundown on how we do things. Obviously, it's not the only way to do things, but if you were to ask me, it is the best way. And if you don't think the way you do things is the best way, then you need to change because you're not having that practice of your dreams. And the only way you're going to find success and happiness is to practice exactly the way you want to. Now, for some people, that might not be the functional nutrition. That might not be the chiropractic biophysics. If you want to just adjust, that's still amazing because you're still helping a ton of people. You just have to make sure that the people you're working with are the people that will benefit a lot from just the adjustment. And if they need more, then you just send them somewhere else where they provide those services.
Yeah.
Because if it's not your thing, it's not your thing. You don't have to do things that make you unhappy. You don't have to do anything that you don't want to do.
Totally. That's the truth, though. So then, um, what would be like, what would be a challenge for a student like going into a new place? Going to a place where they've never lived before, like trying to figure out, is this really that? Maybe they could have a family. Like, what is your advice for taking a massive leap into the unknown?
Hmm. So my advice for that would be to really, I guess, kind of compartmentalize the various situations that you're in for, because obviously if you're going into a complete new place, you would want to have the new office, have a new private life associated with that, because maybe you're away from family, you're away from friends, and you don't want those things to cross over, because again, we talk about like the energy leakages
Yeah.
is in terms of starting out. This is just my personal perspective on that situation is just starting out your career as a chiropractor, getting out of school. I would dive 100% into that. And if that means maybe a little less social life, a little less private life, that's kind of a sacrifice that you're going to have to make, because you're also having the sacrifice of changing location.
Yeah.
But 100% dive into the chiropractic, hone your craft, master your craft, really learn proper communication skills, because I think that's the biggest thing that chiropractic students are lacking coming out of school is, basically we're to a very limited extent cast with the duty of getting our own patients. It's a whole different ball game when you have people coming in from the general public and you're not in that school setting. So I would do that. And then what you end up doing is, in that process of coaching, going to seminars, reaching out into community, you build your own community in that new place, in that new location, because you're obviously going to have that community of within the office. And one thing that I can tell students is your patients do become part of your community. Maybe you're not friends with them outside of the office, but you see them at the supermarket. Let's say you're giving them nutrition advice and you see them grabbing the right thing off the shelf. That's cool.
Yeah, it's figuring
I
out.
just give them a shout out in public, which is amazing. Or a big thing with me and Dr. Fogel is we're kind of fitness fanatics. If I see a patient at the gym, I would think that's amazing.
Yeah.
See them getting after it, doing the things that we preach inside the office. They're taking it outside the office into their private life. We do jujitsu with a ton of people who have come into the office before. Some of our patients become our jujitsu colleagues and vice versa. So the community happens you end up making that new place your home. But I would say the important thing is the chiropractic aspect, and everything else builds below it.
True. Hey, we got 10 people looking here. Everybody drop your name in the chat so we can shout out to you. Where are you guys from? Put your names in the chat. Now we got a lot of chiropractors watching this. Now we got 11. Let's see. Let's get some comments in here for Dr. B. If you guys got questions for Dr. B and what he's doing,
Oh yeah, that'd be great.
drop the questions in the comments. But we're gonna keep going until we see those. So, absolutely. The cool part about seeing patients make incredible decisions, or like they also are sharing it with their friends. That's the coolest part too, is like they come in and they're like, Dr. Brian, and guess what? I just told my wife, like, let's talk about Carlos and his wife. Yeah, functional medicine. Like, he changed his whole restaurant, but you let him.
I think that's like one of the coolest partnerships that we've created within our community in Cumming, Georgia. Is there's a Mexican restaurant called Savory. Big shout out to Savory. I ate there on Thursday.
Yeah, I ate there on Thursday too.
Everybody eats there on Thursday.
Yeah.
But they're amazing because they came in as a family. So they're not isolating one family member. They're choosing to get healthy. They've done it together. And so they became healthy together. And what is anything cooler that you could do is getting healthy as a family. And then two, it's a back and forth referral, because when people come in and they have questions about like, hey, how do you and Dr. Fogel eat? I just say, you know what? Just go eat at Savory. And like, how do they eat out with their family? How do they go out and celebrate at a restaurant? Because that's something that we do. We don't eat every single meal at home. Sometimes, you want to go out and experience a dinner together at a restaurant, having some food that you wouldn't necessarily create at home. But so the background is Carlos brought his whole family in for functional medicine. They completely changed their lifestyle, how they were eating, and it had tremendous results for them.
Oh my God, they lost so much weight.
They did.
Like 10 years younger than when they came in.
Yeah. He just sent his son-in-law in now. So yeah, it continues to grow within their family.
Yeah.
But not only have they made that change for them, they've taken that and they've implemented that into their restaurant. So they're helping the community get healthier as well too.
I know.
They don't use seed oils. They use locally sourced meats. Everything is made fresh for that day. I mean, Carlos is an artist. I mean, you go in there, and I've never met a restaurant owner or business owner who's always out talking to his patrons, expressing his passion for what he does, what the special for that day is.
Yeah.
Like for instance, someone on Thursday afternoon, after just getting back from Savory, said, "What should I get?" The truth is, everything on the menu is great.
Yeah.
I told them, get whatever Carlos says is special for that day.
Yeah.
Because I guarantee you, he went in there late the previous night to start the process of getting ready for that to be amazing the next day. And it really translates in his cooking.
Yeah. So this is the whole thing, guys. Like, you guys, maybe you're chiropractors, maybe you're just somebody who knows nothing about chiropractic, or maybe you're a student. But if you're watching this, the coolest part about being a chiropractor or just a leader in healthcare is being able to share all these ideas with the community.
Yeah.
And that's what you're saying Carlos does, is like, he learned from Dr. Fogel how to be healthy, his wife actually.
Yeah.
And then he just started to do exactly the same thing as his wife. Then he started losing weight. Then his wife was just like way happier. So he's like, you know what? I should bring my daughter.
Yeah.
Brings the daughter in.
Yeah.
She's already just wonderfully happy all the time anyway. But then, she's like, now she's working in the restaurant.
Yeah.
It's like this incredible thing where now you go, okay, Carlos, we want to support your business, but we can't eat there because you're using seed oils.
Yeah.
And if, for those of you who don't know what seed oils are, these are like canola oil, rapeseed oil, you got palm oil, vegetable oil. All these oils are, some of them were meant as lubricant.
Yes, social oil, or actually what canola oil was designed for. If you didn't realize that, if you have a big jug of canola oil in your pantry, get rid of that right away.
Yeah.
And the cool thing, like you said, is he brought everyone in, but then he completely changed not only their private life, but their professional life, which allowed them to influence the community around them.
And their business grew like tenfold.
Yeah.
Because now they started to advertise that they didn't use seed oils, and they didn't realize, they have a whole legal building, like it's a court, and like a whole legal.
They are right outside of downtown Cumming, so next to the courthouse. the police station, all those places where people can come, and whether they realize it or not, they could think they're just having the best Mexican food they've ever had.
Yeah.
It's also incredibly healthy for them
Right.
because they're not getting any of these ingredients that are toxic to the human body. Kind of like what we mentioned before, is this is the most toxic time in human history, and it's because we're eating all these things that we shouldn't be eating without even realizing, like seed oils.
Right. This is the thing too, is like, who wants to go to a Mexican food place and not shit their brains out?
Yeah, that would be nuts.
That would be nice. Man, you get a big old fat burrito from there. I mean, we eat literally anything and you're just so satiated. It feels so good and clean, guys.
And he makes the most amazing hot sauces that you will ever have. He makes this like smoked habanero hot sauce that I was passing around the table. Not everyone was taking it, but even so, people will blame the type of food for why they have the gastric distress when it's what are the shitty ingredients that they're putting in there.
Right.
When you take out those shitty ingredients, it's just good food.
Yeah. Yeah. That's really cool.
Yeah.
So you guys have the ability to be leaders for you students coming into this sort of like world of what's possible in chiropractic. Like your reach is so much farther than just the patients that you're going to see walking through your front door. Like as you become a leader in healthcare, you're going to see more people uh come in and be like, well, I told my cousin Marty, like,
Yeah.
he wanted to lose weight and I just told him what I did and now he lost weight too.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
this is the cool part and this is why we're here going live and we got 13 people on there with this biggest one yet, Dr. B. It's because he's so good looking. That's why. Got the haircut. Got the haircut. He's got that chi. But it's so cool to be able to share all these um, aspects of health.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we got people watching in. So let's give them something new. Because we got some people who are students, we got some people who are not students. So let's just talk about what chiropractic is for everybody watching. Let's just go back to the basics.
Make it a general question. If any of you guys want to post a question in the comments of what you may want to know about chiropractic in general, being a chiropractic student, being a young chiropractor, anything.
Yeah.
And open book.
What's your biggest health challenge?
Yeah. Even it could relate to you as well too.
Right. Yeah. Or somebody you know.
Yeah.
If you're like, most people don't recognize like all the things that chiropractic
That's true.
is associated with.
Yeah.
I'm gonna grab this full poster here.
Yeah.
Because
I would say that's a common thing that we hear in our office is that people regret not coming in earlier because they didn't understand the benefit of chiropractic. They didn't know how powerful it was in changing their life.
right.
Yeah.
Let's go over some of this. Let them do a little pre-consult.
Yeah, 100%.
Let's do it. We're gonna make this work.
Let's see.
All right. Look at guys. This is your brain. Okay. Most chiropractors think that we're like adjusting the bones, but really we're focused on what's inside of it. You got a spinal cord in here and it connects to all of your organs and tissues. Okay. So once your brain sends energy down your spinal cord to all your organs and tissues, there's this word called subluxation. All right. Subluxation. You want to explain what a subluxation is?
Yeah. So basically, I'll almost talk to you guys as if I was talking to one of my patients. But what it is, we're a top-down system. Everything starts up here in our brain, goes down the spinal cord like a river of energy going out to every organ, tissue, cell in the body. So that's the first and foremost what people don't understand is that the energy that we get from our brain goes out to every other cell. That's why the brain is the most important organ in our body. And if you look at everything that we're seeing here, notice how everything is fully encased in bone. You have your skull and you have your spine protecting your brain and your spinal cord. Right. We were designed that way for a reason because it's so important to our overall health. And so what we do as chiropractors is we work on this thing called subluxation. An easy way to think of subluxation is really anything that's going to prevent that flow of energy.
Right.
It can be a shift in one bone out of place, which is actually very rare, but in some cases it's called a spondylolisthesis. It's a shift in the spine. But much more commonly these days is just the poor posture that everyone has developed due to the use of technology. So you see everyone is cranking their head down, looking at their phone. sitting at a computer for hours on end throughout the day, all the people that work from home.
Yeah.
It's all destroying our spine. And those giant shifts in the spine cause a lack of energy to flow down the spinal cord. Because if you look at how this spine is oriented on the poster, that's what it should look like. But the unfortunate truth is 95% of people that walk into a chiropractic office do not have a spine that looks like this. If this is where this is, their head is shifted all the way out here because of what I told you before.
Let's show them just like with our bodies what it means. He says, this is a little small. If you guys are watching on a phone, we're going to just use our bodies to teach you about it. Let's just talk about this section right here. Okay. Let's list off what these are.
So we got headaches, migraines, insomnia, dizziness, hypertension, nervousness, fatigue, weak immune system, allergies, and chronic colds.
Okay. All of those are symptoms. If you experience any of those, your head's not on right.
100%.
Why is that? So let's show them. Like here's your cell phone.
Mhm.
Okay. Dr. B's
I'll
looking
get a side view here for you guys.
yeah.
You would recognize this position.
Right here is right where all that energy is supposed to be flowing. His brain should be sending energy down in his whole body. But what happens is that your spinal cord is shifted. It's like a garden hose. If you put a kink in a garden hose, what happens to the water, guys?
Stops.
Does not flow. That energy doesn't flow anymore. So if he's on his cell phone and looking down like this, after about 10 minutes, the shape of his spine is going to cut off the energy to the rest of his organs. So just because you got nerves, okay, just because these nerves are at the top of his spine, everything below it, his heart, his lungs, his liver, his intestines, his balls, his bladder, the kidneys, his adrenal glands, the pancreas, his stomach, his ears, his eyes, everything below and above is going to be affected. So this is what's so fascinating about your nervous system, is that no matter where you have this shift in your spine, wherever you've got a kink in your metaphorical hose, your hose is filled with energy. All right. If there's a disruption in that, then your whole system is not going to be functioning right. So, hey, thanks everybody for coming on. We got 27 people on this thing. We're growing. High five.
There we go.
All right. So here's the deal, guys. Imagine that this is a highway, right? Or maybe it's like a club. All right. Your brain sends messages down your spinal cord. Let's say to your heart. What does somebody who has bad breathing and heart problems look like? What is their posture like?
So they're usually very caged in like this.
Right.
One, they're cutting off energy to their lungs and to their heart. But if you guys at home or wherever you are watching this, if you were to go in this position, try to take in a deep breath.
Yeah. Try to get in a cave log, get a deep breath.
Then you're just doing that all day. So all day you're starving yourself of vital energy and also vital oxygen. Yeah, no wonder you have headaches. No wonder you're tired all the time.
Right. It's crazy. So who do you guys know? Drop a like, you don't have to say their name. You can if you want to, but just be like your mom or dad or your brother. You see, say me. Yeah, you can even say me. Yeah. If you ever looked in the mirror and you look kind of like this, to take my hat off so you can see. You know, if you're looking like this, so you know somebody. How many of you have kids? Okay, now we're gonna show this. Okay, how many of you have kids? You can take this screen. We're gonna go rogue. All right. How many of your kids sit?
Well, what I was actually I mentioned earlier, Dalton, is
Yeah.
I was trying to get in that bad phone position, but it's almost impossible. You see kids these days literally resting their chin on their chest.
Yeah. Look at this. Right here. What's this doing? If I were to stand up straight, this is what it looks like. Okay, this is just, let's go like a little bit farther back so they can see. All right, look, this is how people chill, right? How many of you chill like this at nighttime? How many of you chilling like this in your bed before you go to sleep? You're just looking at your phone. Maybe you're on your laptop and you're like this. It only takes 10 minutes for you to be in this position, for it to start shutting off all the energy. I mean, it's shutting off the energy because you're in this position, but what happens is you end up creating like this position,
You create permanence.
a permanence with it. So then,
Believe it or not, guys, I have to call people out in the office for doing that. They will be sitting there waiting to get adjusted in that position, saying that they have neck pain. And it's like,
Yeah.
no shit.
it hurts right now just doing that. You're gonna have to adjust me right now. You know what I mean? So here's the thing, guys. We want to be up. Look at this right now. We got a freaking, I stole a Whole Foods thing and I got a little stand. This computer sits like this here, so the screen's like that. So we don't have to have
Crank our heads down.
crank our heads down just to do it. Like this screen is at eye level for us. This is how you keep your spines healthy. This thing is like 20 bucks, 25 bucks on Amazon. Just look up foldable laptop stand.
And change your life.
It literally changed your life. Everybody that I see out in the world, I pull this out. I even got one from, look at this thing. I even got one for my freaking iPad. You see that? This little contraption just goes up. That way I can stand. Look. It's at head height. I bring this to school. I'm hanging out and doing shit in the back of the classroom, standing up with my little Apple Pencil, taking notes. Like that. 10x super life. If you don't know who Grant Cardone is, we're going to change the world. So anyways, these are small things that you could do to help you and your children not shut down the energy. Why do you think your kids have got all kinds of mental issues?
They can't focus. The teacher says they're an ADD. You know, they need, and then the only option is prescription drugs. You know, they have chronic allergies. They're always getting sick and missing school. There's a reason why.
Yeah,
There's a reason why.
totally. And this is the thing. The kids' spines are more flexible. They're almost kind of like Play-Doh or Gumby compared to an adult who's been creating rigidity for so long, you know? And this is the thing where like children, you got to get the kids to the chiropractor because so many times, like maybe, adolescent, like small girls have a higher probability to have scoliosis.
Yeah. They need to be checked.
Yeah.
Everyone needs to be checked. I mean, we talk about how people are chronically sick these days. So if you take an adult who's been sick for 20, 30 years, how valuable is it to take your child in to get their spine checked and then realize you have the ability to save them from all that heartache?
Yeah.
Who do you love more than your kids? Nobody.
Yeah.
So why would you want them to suffer for 20, 30, 40 years the way you did? Obviously, help yourself get out of that unhealthy situation, but also make sure that your kid never has to suffer.
Yeah. This is the thing where like if your child, drop a 1 in the chat if you know a child who has allergies or asthma. Just do it. You don't have to say who it is, but just drop a 1 in the chat. I'm gonna drop the first one in there. Drop a 1 in the chat. I know the kid who has allergies and asthma. Drop a 1 in the chat.
Easy to throw ADD, ADHD in there as well too, because that's a big one.
If you know some children or your friends or adults who have challenges focusing, the reason, there's plenty of reasons. I mean, it's going to start with your brain and your nervous system. Second is going to be the diet.
Yeah, the gut. I was just about to say, the gut is the second brain. You know, we see the sickest kids are usually the worst spines that we see. Dr. Fogel just did a podcast with Progressive Medical where I was talking about how some of the worst spines that we see are in some of our youngest patients. But not only that, we have the ability to do extensive lab testing in our office where we do stool tests, we test the microbiome, and these kids are just messes. And it's not a secret as to why they're experiencing the signs and symptoms that they do. It's right there on the labs and on the x-rays.
Yeah.
So if you just know where to look, if you get your kid checked, rather than starting that terrible process of getting them into the traditional medical model of they need to be on this drug, get them adjusted, get them on an anti-inflammatory diet, kill off the bugs and get them on a probiotic.
Yeah.
you can save so much heartache, so much sickness and suffering.
Well, this is the thing too. Like, if you want your children to have the best go when they're in this phase of learning, like depending on their age, I mean, you literally can start children with adjustments the day they were born. I was adjusted in the womb. See, I was gonna be a feet first baby because I always like to jump into everything feet first.
My mom got adjusted all throughout her pregnancy with me. It's it happens even before you come out. You want to be developing well in there. And I did not to go off on a tangent, but we're talking about kids here. If we still have a lot of chiropractic students listening, you guys need to be getting checked as well too.
Dude,
If you haven't been X-rayed in however long you've been in school,
6 months, like the longest.
yeah, you need to get checked immediately. You need to be X-rayed. You guys need to be checking your diet. Having somebody who, if you don't know anything about functional medicine, you should go see somebody who does. And you should be on the right supplements and not, green medicine where you just walk into Whole Foods and be like, oh, that looks good. I'll take that.
Yeah.
You need to be doing some type of labs. You need to see where your deficiencies are and get on an actual program for you, because this is a job that requires you to be healthy. We give out of abundance. And if we're giving health to people, we have to be healthy ourselves.
Absolutely.
You're not going to be able to be a good chiropractor if you're not living the lifestyle yourselves.
And if you guys are listening and you guys are not chiropractic students or you're not chiropractors, like this still applies for you. Yeah. Like if you guys want to be healthy, drop drop a 7 in the chat if you want to be healthy. Come on, Dr. B. I'm gonna drop one. You go ahead and type your 7 in there.
There we go.
Come on in. Yeah. Drop a 7 in the chat if you want to be healthy.
Oh, what am I doing there?
There we go. Nice. All right, we're doing it. Double 7.
Double set.
This is the thing. So we're gonna tell you how to get healthy. If you all want to understand what are the easiest things to avoid, look on the back of the wrapper. If there's added sugar that's not like honey
Yeah.
or like maple syrup, like organic maple syrup, maybe coconut sugar, maybe, but like don't eat it.
Yeah. If the ingredient label looks like a paragraph, don't eat that.
Totally. I mean, you can have like sometimes. I mean, they got things that are dates. Dates are
I mean,
sweet. Like there's
So they said guidelines would be like, buy foods where the only ingredient in that food is what it says on the front label.
yeah,
Like if you're getting a steak, guess what? There's no need for an ingredient list because you're getting a steak.
yeah, right.
Fruit, that's it. But if there's anything extra in there, these food dyes, like red 40, of course, is the big one these days. The seed oils, all of those things, it's gonna cause inflammation, cause dysbiosis in your gut.
Yeah.
It's going to cause endocrine disruption, because another thing there is,
So what does that mean for all the people who don't?
so endocrine disruption is going to be your hormones.
Yeah.
That's something that you guys can raise your hand for, is how many of you know men or women who are experiencing hormone issues?
Right.
It's become an unfortunate thing that women, as they age, it's almost just become a normal thing that you will experience hormone issues, especially as you approach menopause.
Yeah.
Calm doesn't have to be that way.
Yeah. But it's not normal.
No.
It's common, but not normal.
Yeah, exactly. It's
Right.
but well, it is normal in the sense that it's framed to be normal,
Right.
by traditional medicine.
Right.
It's common, but it's not normal. But most people aren't aware of that difference there between common and normal. So what me and Dalton are saying is that just because it happens all the time doesn't make it normal. For instance, there are plenty of people with chronic illnesses such as heart disease and diabetes in the US.
Right.
It's common, but it should never be labeled as
No. Right. And this is the reason, like we got to ask ourselves why is that happening? Why is there so much diabetes? Why is there so much cancer? Why is there so much heart disease? It's because of the things that we're eating. I mean, smoking is prevalent. They got traditional tobacco is probably more of an older generation thing. And you got definitely the freaking vapes.
the vaping.
The vapes are crazy. And, that's creating some issues, but the ingredient list, I mean, the sugar, all the added sugar, all the candy, like it's crazy to go to our college because our college is supposed to represent this absolute health.
Yeah.
Yet I went there the other day and they have like, I mean, so much candy. It's crazy. They have like one grass-fed beef stick, which is nice. They'd have that because I told them we need a beef stick and they put it in there. And thank you for listening to that. But then for the one beef stick, they added 10 more things of candy. So it's like, but wait.
Yeah.
They have a sour pickle flavored candy.
That's disgusting.
They don't even have like, they don't have blue raspberry, cherry, strawberry, and pineapple, like anything good. Like literally, they have a piece of candy at Life University that is pickle candy flavored.
The crazy thing is too, the more people are gonna get that sour pickle flavored candy than I get to get the beef sauce. That's the crazy stuff.
It's disgusting.
It's an addiction. It truly is. Yeah. Unfortunately, there are some people even at a place where we should be able to consider it a sanctuary of health and wellness, like life. It's all addicted to these harmful ingredients because it's all from, an industry that's run by food scientists who are their only task is to design these hyper palatable flavors that will get the consumer addicted.
Yeah, well, this is the whole thing. I mean, this is why MSG is so awesome for a business that's trying to sell chips or freaking you just buy the MSG and put it in any food, and then you make it cheap because the whole thing is like the substance, the food, you could put MSG in rice and you're like, this fucking rice is
This best rice ever.
best rice ever fucking had.
And it's all the addictive component to it.
Yeah.
Kind of going back to what you're talking about with smoking is they created an industry that literally kills people, but because it's based on an addictive chemical, people continue to do it. Think about how crazy it is that every day people go to a local gas station, a local smoke shop, and they buy a product that says it will cause cancer.
Yeah, and no harm, no foul. If you guys are doing this, this is a call to go, hey guys, that box says it.
Yeah.
It says it like, hey, inherently, you may make choices that are not going to be the healthiest for you.
Yeah.
I mean, not every choice that I make in my life leads to peace or like a healthy gut. Like there are times where I go and I have some saffron ice cream at Delwa. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But, it's like, it's not to say that all this is a place of judgment, but like absolute awareness. I mean, this is like 5% of the time, maybe 2% of the time, I'm making choices like that.
Well, I would say it goes back to what you said, asking the question of how do you want to live?
Right.
I would say a big thing that we do as chiropractors is we show people the disconnect between the choices that they're making and the lives they claim to want to live.
Right.
Because you can't claim to want to live this life with the choices that you're making. So either you want to live a different life or you need to start making different choices.
Totally.
Because although you're saying there are times where your decision making may slip, still, I would say 95% of the decisions that you make are consistent with the life that you want to live.
Absolutely. And shout out to Dr. Kyle Fogel for being like the true embodiment of just
100%.
incredible.
Nobody can interact or come in contact with Dr. Fogel who doesn't have their lives changed.
Yeah.
It either comes down to you listen to him and you become healthier and stronger, or you ignore him and you continue down the same path.
Right. I mean, you're the same way, Dr. B. I mean, Dr. B is like incredible.
Oh, thank you.
The dude's like a freaking, look at him, stud muffin right here. He's freaking,
Boosting my ego in the eye.
yeah. But the guy's a machine, you work out, you do jujitsu, you're helping people heal all day 4 days a week. I mean, you're incredibly active in the community. You're doing this now, helping people. Hey, 33 people. If you're a stranger, I freaking love this. This is why we do this.
Yeah. Let's get the message out there. Literally, this podcast is called the Chiropractic Message.
Yeah.
And that's simply all we want to do is get the message out so that people do know. Because like I said before, the biggest thing we hear is, I didn't know. And that's the only problem is if you don't know, it's not your fault.
Yeah.
We're just trying to help you become aware.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of what we have to say is once you know, you can't unlearn that knowledge.
Yeah.
And you can't go consciously making these poor decisions for your health and just continue down the same path. But like I said, it's just all how you want to live. And I think for the most part, a majority of people would say that they would like it if their quality of life improved even just 5 to 10%.
Yeah.
And so what decisions can you do? You can change that 5 to 10% if you just start getting adjusted.
Yeah. Or stop eating sugar.
Yeah.
I mean, like,
it's very easy decisions.
Yeah, stop drinking alcohol. I mean, that sometimes can be hard for people, but hey, we've done it.
Yeah.
I mean,
well, I kind of take pride in like being the weirdo. But weird because of the societal norms put on people. Like, it's weird if you don't drink. Like if you go to a social gathering and there's alcohol involved, but you don't partake, and you're the odd man out, odd woman out. The crazy thing is that is something wrong? Do you have a problem with alcohol? It's like, maybe you just don't want to drink. Yeah. Because maybe it's a Saturday night and you want to go for a long run on Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Or just wake up feeling good.
Yeah.
Like you don't want to have a hangover because you haven't filled your body with toxins the night before.
Right. I mean, I've experienced this in my own family. Bella's listening in. She's experienced this too. There's like a transition, and it's not because our family are evil in any way. It's just because like people are used to connecting in a certain way. So it's like, if you guys choose to have a healthy life and your family isn't like on that road, like there may be an integration period where like they just don't know how to connect maybe in a different way. And maybe they're just looking for that love and connection with you, and they just didn't know it could be possible in a different way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
There's people like, where their family traditions are like, they love through food by like overindulging, overeating.
Yeah.
But it's like you said before, it's not that you have to cut out everything. It's just that there's other ways, and I think a lot of it comes back to dopamine.
Yeah.
People, because they don't know that there's other ways to get that dopamine fix, we turn to the phone, turn to alcohol, turn to salty, sugary foods that are not good for us, cause inflammation. It's a very short-term dopamine hit that's going to reset very quickly, and you're going to need more and more every time.
Yeah.
Look at people. It's one drink might get them the first time, but then years later, they're drinking, 12-pack every night because that's the only way they feel anything.
Right.
And so they don't realize that there's other means of getting that dopamine rush that feels so much better.
Yeah, I got to tell you, like my brother Richie, I don't know, Richie, if you're on here, comment. I don't know, I got 33 people. If you're my brother, then say you're on here. So with my brother and I, he's been going through a challenge in life, and I just wanted to help like uplift his spirits, Mm-hmm. So I'm like, bro, let's just like, he's an army dude. So I'm like, let's just do push-ups, sit-ups, squats, and glute bridges. Mm-hmm. Like, are you going to get your ass? Yep. You're going to get your core. You're going to get your front legs. You're going to get your upper body. And I'm like, man, like what number of push-ups, sit-ups, squats, and glute bridges doesn't seem like it's going to challenge you if you did it every day? Not like this thing where you do it like you go, well, I can do 100. Like maybe you could bust your ass for one day and you get 100 of each of those. And then you're fucking paralyzed the next day because you haven't done that shit in a long time.
Yeah.
But I'm like, what's the number that you could do every day for 1 week just to make it an easy win? Because this is the whole thing where like you want to go start exercising. Maybe it's just like going for a walk every day.
Yeah.
And for me, it has to be every day, because when I give myself the 1 day off, that's like I have to just do an active recovery. And some people are a little bit more disciplined. I'm sure you could have a rest day and you have a rest day and whatever. But for me, for this little exercise we've been doing, we've been doing it every day this week. We got his kids doing it. They're little kids doing this exercise. Then he was hanging out and living with one of his friends, and then they did it, and then all of their kids started doing it. Bella was doing it, And so we'll get on these lives and start doing them soon. I got finals this week, so
we'll put out a challenge or something. That would be really cool.
Yeah, so we just hop on and we're just doing 25. It takes literally like 3 minutes.
And you don't need a day off from that. And to be honest, if somebody's trying to like start that comeback story, you don't need a rest day because you've been resting for so long.
Yeah.
You need consistency.
You rested for 6 years.
Exactly. You rested for the last 20 years, last 2 decades. You can go. You can keep going, and then we'll worry about rests later on. But yeah, that's huge. It's forming consistent habits that you do on a daily basis. Let's say an easy thing for someone to do is, run down an overview of your day and pick your unhealthiest habit that you can identify immediately.
Right.
And just change that one habit.
Yeah.
Do that for, what do they say, 21 days to make a new habit?
Right.
Do that for 21 days and then reassess. Now you get the next one down in that list of priorities.
Right.
And just make those changes over time, because doing something for 2 weeks, like the classic, people join the gym on January 1st and then they're done by February 1st.
Yeah.
That's not going to make lifelong changes.
No.
The way you make lifelong changes is by literally changing your lifestyle.
Yeah. And this is the thing. So this is what I go over with Grant Cardone's system. And I'm a 10X business coach. So what I teach is just you can start with easy wins. You know what I mean? Like, the consistency is the most important part. Showing up every day to do it. And then going, like, identifying what really is it. Like, it doesn't have to be this big undertaking. Like, something that keeps coming up with the people that I coach is that they're looking at this entire life change. Like, what's great about that is they have a vision of what they want their life to be, and then they're like able to imagine what life would be great as, and then they look at where they're at and they see this like massive gap between where they are and where they want to be, and then it just seems too overwhelming, and that's why they don't move forward. This is why we're starting out with 25 reps of this exercise, because it was the number that Richie said. He was like, I could do this, not be sore, and I'll just be committed to it. Like, I have a spiritually based self-empowerment system called the Solver and Architect. It's on DaltonRios.com, just for a shameless plug. And if you want some free daily affirmations, comment in here and I'll send them to you.
I get them on my phone every morning, 8:12 a.m. I get a text from Dalton with the affirmation for the day. It's awesome.
Yeah, it's good,
awesome.
Right? It's good. Sweet. It's like 4 months of affirmations if you want to just start keying into healthy thoughts and things you can tell yourself. But the idea was like, wow, how do I get from where I'm at to where I want to go? And the magic is figuring out, okay, what's step one? Like, what's an easy thing that I could do that would just make me feel awesome? If you want to have better relationships, if you'd like to have better health, if you want to get a raise, like if you want to move somewhere, if you want to learn something, like all of this, ironically, all of this is the chiropractic message as well. Yeah. Because everything that we desire is rooted in the amount of energy we have to accomplish all of our visions and goals. And chiropractic is like the root of how your body creates energy, meaning your nervous system. Chiropractic is the vehicle we use to unlock all the energy.
And most people are running on fumes. I think as you were speaking there, a big thing I thought of was, like you said, they don't have that intrinsic energy within their body because they haven't been getting adjusted. But two is, maybe they've been living a life for so long, they've built up this overwhelming amount of shame, whether it be because of their body composition. That's a big thing that we hear in our office is, one, because we're very transparent with people, is when they have weight issues, we address that. And a lot of times nobody's been that frank with them. They'll go see their medical doctor and they'll be 80 pounds overweight and they're like, you're pre-diabetic, but we'll just continue to monitor it for now. It's like, no, there's no such thing as pre-diabetic. You're diabetic or you're not diabetic. Right. Pre-diabetic is just like, you're not at the threshold for where we can load you up with meds quite yet.
Yeah. Really what it means is like, you're pre-diabetic is just a nice way of like trying to church up the fact that if you don't change your lifestyle, you're going to have a disease.
But they won't tell them that.
No.
Medical doctors on that little prescription pad They have no idea is that what they can write is, I'm prescribing you diet and exercise. When was the last time a medical doctor wrote that on a script pad?
Well, so the way that medicine can work is that these companies, because in the United States, pharmaceuticals are allowed to be a business, and the only other country in the world that is like that is New Zealand. Yeah. So every other place in the world does not have, they can't make money from different drugs that are the same drug.
You don't get commercials in the middle of the Super Bowl talking about this medicine.
Cialis.
Yeah, exactly. This in New Zealand, the U.S. and New Zealand are the only countries where pharmaceutical companies can directly advertise to the general population.
Right. And so the way that medical doctors earn money is through like how they affect like certain markers. Like if you take diabetes, there's certain outcomes that they're looking for. Like you just said, pre-diabetic. But if they're like, okay, well, if you get them to take less of their medication, or if you get like certain markers in their blood, like their hemoglobin A1C or whatever else, their blood glucose, if you create a change, just a positive change, then the more times that happens, the doctor will get paid.
Yeah.
So the reward for the medical doctor is not helping somebody reverse that disease or helping somebody do that. They get paid just to like create a positive change on the marker. So if they're monitoring it, there's potential for them to continually earn income in a state where like maybe you are diabetic, and instead of getting you past the threshold, they could just help your numbers improve. And if you go back up, then they bring it back down. And every time they bring that number back down, they get a paycheck. Yeah. Then, it's not even, the doctors aren't even making money in the way that you would think, where they're like, oh, well, diabetic medication 1 versus diabetic medication 2. And then, they get paid because diabetic medication 2 company is telling them to sell that over diabetic medication 1 company.
It's just so, it's such a sterile relationship. Like, if you can imagine the last time maybe you saw a traditional medical doctor, as they come in, they have their clipboard, they might be looking at your chart. They don't even pick their eyes up to look at you as a patient, and you're mostly dealing with a nurse or a physician's assistant. The difference in chiropractic is like we have people who literally break down into tears when they come into our office because they've never felt a connection in that way, or they've never been heard, or they've never felt like somebody cares as much as we care. And it's not always because we're telling them everything that they need to hear. It's because the exact opposite actually is we're telling them what they haven't heard from anybody else, but it's what's going to truly change their life. It's a totally different model, and it should be, because we mentioned earlier, this model isn't working. People are sick.
Yeah.
And they're only getting sicker.
Like 70% of the people in the United States are obese. That's a pretty big majority. What is always fascinating to me is what we're positioned to focus on through the media and whatever narrative is going on in the world. Because, when Robert Kennedy Jr. was up to be, voted in to be the healthcare commissioner, I don't know his exact title, but when he was going to be voted in, there was this massive thing about vaccination and how, we need to talk about this subject, and hey, people getting sick is true, when it's like his whole point was like, why don't we just talk about food standards?
Yeah.
Like diabetes, there's 70% of the people in this country are obese.
Yeah.
If you're obese, then you're predisposed for diabetes, heart failure, any sort of like blood flow problems. I mean, fatigue, you're just gut issues, like your organs are failing. Yeah. If you're obese, your organs are failing. You're not having it's not to say it's impossible to have positive thoughts, but your nervous system is in a state of stress.
Yeah.
And, you know, his whole deal was like, how come we're talking so much about an area of health that relative to obesity is like so minuscule?
It's
like we're talking about 200 to 250 million people that are obese.
Yeah, you're
and
focusing on the small details,
Right,
and you're not
right.
seeing it for the big picture.
You know, and it's crazy. And he wants to help change the food regulations.
Yeah.
Or like take sugar out of schools so kids don't have to just be part of that 70% because the schools, they're all regulated.
Yeah.
You know, like they allow it.
Yeah, and from the conversations that I've had with people, because I have patients who work in school cafeterias, school kitchens, is that's actually more important than you think, because especially in low income areas, the meals that kids get at school might be the only true meals that they get that day.
Right.
You know, in some cases, the district that she works in, they actually have programs where even when school's not in session, they will actually keep the cafeteria open because they still feed some of the kids in that district, because that's the only way to support them, because it's a low income area.
Yeah, so bringing this back to the reason we started this podcast today is like, this is why, you know, being a chiropractic student or just anybody who values the health of others. I know, Bella, you're like such an advocate for people who don't have the same opportunity. You know, well, whenever we talk about this is more of a deeper spiritual principle. I believe we all have the same opportunity. We have different challenges.
Yeah.
Everybody's got the same opportunity. All our challenges are absolutely different. And this is where, like, you know, where you're born, where you're from, your current situation, like what you feel about yourself. Those are challenges that could be, you know, as diverse as your brain could imagine. Yeah. But if you live in America, the opportunity for you to have a different life is 100% certain. You know, like it really just comes down to understanding that, like, the people who make incredible changes out of the greatest challenges, whether it's not having financial freedom, whether it's being in a super oppressive environment or an abusive environment or whatever that may be, like, there are people who completely changed the world and they started there.
Yeah.
I mean, so many people who are at a high level in this world started out or have been at like the depths and been scraped out.
It's all scalable, because I think the mindset that it took for them to get out of a terrible situation is the same mindset that continued to help them grow into massive successes.
Absolutely.
And it's all just momentum. For them to start the process, it just kept going. That's why I think, you know, when you look at the people that you look up to the most, they didn't start from having means. They all overcame many challenges before they got to where they got to.
Yeah.
Rarely do you hear of someone who was born with a silver spoon in their mouth and then they grew into a massive success, even greater than having that silver spoon. It's I forget who said this, but it's like, people always like to attribute, people don't know how many years it took to have my overnight success.
Yeah, right,
you know what I mean?
Exactly.
It took 20 years to become an overnight success. 20 years of hard work behind the scenes.
Yeah, and you know what's incredible is, like, most of the people that are watching this have an incredible story. I mean, y'all have, got an origin story. It's insane.
And it's all unique to you. Yeah.
Yeah, and you wouldn't guess that, like, some of the people who are thriving so well have like such an intense story.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? This is what's cool about learning and just learning about human connection and like potential. Mm-hmm. I mean, I know that, like, we both enjoy all these really empowering videos and we send them to each other from time to time.
Yeah.
And you just hear men and women rising up. And this is what you see in your practice.
Yeah, it's when you turn somebody's life around through their health, it kind of, you know, those videos that we talk about, it's, you know, a comeback story is like, if you look, it's like one of the most popular ideas within our culture. Like, look at movies.
Yeah, Rocky.
It's a comeback story. It's one of the things that we appreciate the most. And that's those are the cool transformations that you're able to see as a chiropractor, because it starts with that one small step, one simple step, like we talked about, of getting that energy flowing again with your health. And where does it translate to? Maybe it's like, it's that business guy who he's just like, he's stuck. He's in debt, and all of a sudden he gets healthy, and it just reinvigorates him. So he's like, you know what? I'm going to do this. I'm not going to give up. And it's that comeback story. And you can be, as a chiropractor, you can be the one who helps initiate that comeback story.
Yeah. And if you're a parent, you can help your children initiate that comeback story. This is like my brother right now. He's like, I mean, both my brothers, like I have more than two, but the ones I'm thinking of right now, like, if y'all are still listening, I love you. And we got a comeback story together. Like, we're building businesses with our family. This is the coolest thing. Like, we're able to just go, man, we've been getting healthy. I know my brother Austin, he's like freaking called him last night. He has his like hoodie on. He's like all zipped up like this, like on the bicycle.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Trying to sweat it out.
That's awesome.
I answered the phone. I was like, what the hell are you doing, bro? He's like, I'm sweating. I know, it was awesome, man. It's cool because it's like, I think getting healthy with my family has been the coolest thing. My mom and dad, my aunt, my uncles, like, my cousins, my brothers and sisters, like meeting Bella. Bella's on here. Love you.
Bella?
I know. We met Bella, and like within, I don't know, the shortest amount of time, I brought her to you and Dr. Fogel. I'm like, yo, if this is going to work out, you're going to have to get that energy flowing through that spine.
Core values.
Yeah. And here's the thing. When we were looking at Bella's posture, she was like so upright. Her parents are both chiropractors. And so, by looking at her, you'd be like, wow, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
She looks great.
Yeah.
Now we took her x-rays. Who knew? She had like, the way that her spine was supposed to be was literally the opposite. Like, she's supposed to have a curve in her neck going this way, and it was going the other way.
She had just adapted over time and hit it well.
Yeah.
And that's one of the most dangerous positions to be in, to be able to hide a situation that's seriously decreasing your overall health.
Well, the thing is that she was like thriving.
Yeah.
So like, there's no outward indication of that she was aware of that was like really pointing out the fact that her spine was gonna lead to like a terrible life ahead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, she had a couple of things here and there, but she was just like, oh, that's just normal. Because it wasn't bad enough to go to the hospital. It wasn't bad enough to be on medication. Like, it was just like, oh, this is just, it's a part of life. So ask yourself, like, what are the things that you guys feel are just a part of your life that don't seem like it's not going to stop you from going to work? It's not going to stop you from being a parent or a spouse. Like, it's not going to stop you, but it's like a minor annoyance. Like, let's go over some of these things. How many of you have fatigue? Like, basically everybody all the time. You got some fatigue.
And that's something that is kind of crosses all boundaries when it comes to sickness and disease. Is what's one of the only symptoms that is with everything is you start to feel tired. You start to feel fatigued.
Right. I mean, if any of you have any trouble going to sleep or getting up, I mean, this is like energy 101. You got to sleep.
Yeah.
I mean, Dr. B, we got the whoops. I got mine on my shoulder. But understanding how to sleep well. I mean, if you've got headaches or migraines, this is something you probably smashed your head and didn't realize it.
Yeah.
Anybody who's done any sort of contact sport, gymnasts, cheerleaders, football players, hockey players, any sort of MMA, judo, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, freaking basketball, getting hit on the head with a basketball.
Football in particular, I think, moving forward, I hope to see that chiropractic is shown to really help with the progression of CTE.
What's CTE?
So CTE is chronic traumatic encephalopathy. So that is the disease that unfortunately right now they're only able to diagnose after death, but it's what caused guys like Junior Seau to commit suicide. It causes chronic pain, chronic insomnia. So these guys, they're just living with this anxiety, this fatigue because they can't sleep. They always feel nervous. They always feel agitated. And this is why these former football players end up taking their own lives. And they know that it's from that because Junior Seau and unfortunately this other former player, they actually, in their suicide note, they shot themselves in the chest intentionally and left a note saying, "Study my brain," afterwards.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
They knew something was wrong, but they didn't know how to help themselves. I mean, the thing is it's so simple. Just go to a chiropractor, get your x-rays. If you need a chiropractor, drop a comment and we'll find one in your area. We know them everywhere. We're all connected. If you have any sort of digestion problems, like no matter what you're eating, whether it's good or bad, if you have a healthy system, you should be able to process it.
Are you getting bloated? Do you have chronic diarrhea? Are you always constipated? All these things.
Yeah.
It should not be that way.
Right. Do you have allergies to things? I used to be allergic to peanuts and fish. And I went to a chiropractor, and in one adjustment, I was young. I was like maybe 8. And my mom took me to the chiropractor, and I literally would break out in hives my whole body for peanuts and tuna fish. And he gave me an adjustment, figured out where I was subluxated at, like where the energy wasn't flowing in my body. And then he told my mom to go home and give me peanut butter and tuna fish. And she was like so nervous because like literally my whole body would break out in hives. And he said, just do it. And so we did. I've never been allergic since.
That's awesome.
I mean, it's not like that for everybody. So don't go thinking that I'm saying that this is how it is for everybody with an allergy, because it's not. But there are certain cases where it can be that way. So it's like, you might want, who do you know that would benefit from this?
Yeah.
Like if you have heart palpitations, if you got heart problems.
You need
like,
to get your thoracics adjusted.
Yeah. If you have problems breathing, how many people have challenges breathing? This could be from many things. Our house, like the OSHA is a governing body that is like used to figure out what's toxic and what's not toxic, like in a workplace, or like they basically test the air quality to make sure that we can continue working and doing all our stuff without getting sick. But this group says that the most toxic place is inside our homes. And it's because not everybody understands, not everybody cleans. That's for sure, not everybody cleans. Second, you got all kinds of chemicals and stuff in your house.
Candles, air fresheners.
Yeah, I mean, this
sprays,
is the thing. Yeah. So let's talk about this a little bit. So we're going to take a pause on this, and let's talk about like safety inside your house.
Yeah.
The things that are toxic inside your house, one would be the chemicals that you use to clean. All right. During COVID, my parents, because they had a bit of fear at the time. First of all, I was a military trained epidemiologist. Okay. I went over to Kuwait, Iraq, and Jordan. I've been stationed all over the United States, and my job was public health and helping people with understanding the air quality, soil quality, the water, how well to keep food, what kind of animals give you diseases, how to store chemicals, how to store body parts, all kinds of crazy things. And during this time, my mom and dad were just nervous to get sick, and we had to stay confined in the house because we were living with them. We were in the process of buying a house. But they wanted us to bleach all the groceries, like with sanitizer. But then we had to literally step in bleach, like the bottom of our shoes. And this was something I couldn't do. That was very short for me. Because I'm like, listen, like, these chemicals that you guys are using in your house that you think they are sanitizing everything, but they're also sanitizing the good bacteria on you. So it's like, yes, they do what the label says. They sanitize the countertops, but you have all kinds of organisms everywhere in your body. Whether
your
you know this or
microbiome is
not.
not just in your intestines. Your microbiome is everywhere. It's in your mouth. It's on your skin.
Right. In your eyes, you have trillions of different kinds of bacteria and microorganisms in you 100% of the time of life. That's a fact. So if you're using bleach on your countertops and you're bleaching the floor and you're bleaching the toilet and you're not, maybe you use gloves, maybe you don't, maybe you just use a rag. But the thing is like you're going to touch your face, you're going to touch your mouth, like that countertop, you're definitely going to touch the countertop. If you're going to touch all of the refrigerator door, the door to go in and out of the house, like you're going to touch the table that you're bleaching, and every time that you touch that, you're killing the good bacteria that keep you safe. You have bacteria, there's bacteria that's harmful, and there's bacteria that keeps you safe. If you use bleach, the bleach kills everything. Yeah. So ironically, I left the house because that environment was more toxic because of how clean and how sterile they wanted to make everything. Yeah. They were killing my immune system by asking me to do that. And so then I was like, I can't do this. Yeah. So we left. But this is why people get sick in hospitals, by the way. Yeah. Like hospital deaths are in the top 10 things that kill people in this country. You got cancer, heart disease are the top 2.
Yeah. Medical mistakes.
And this is the thing where like people die of these diseases in the hospitals because what happens is these diseases become resilient to the bleach and the sanitizer. So not as they keep getting exposed to the sanitizer and bleach, the viruses and the bacteria can become immune to it. Where now, if you go to a hospital, there are these bacteria that are just, it'd be like going to the Gold's Gym back in the 70s or Muscle Beach, and you got all these giant things. I can't make my arm big enough. I got little tiny arms, but.
And not just that they're killing and sterilizing everything, but inherently these compounds are toxic. Yeah. Like if you've ever smelled how strong pure bleach is, if you spill a little bit, your entire house is going to smell like bleach.
Yeah. Or if you smell it, you feel it in your. Yeah. I feel it in my throat.
It burns. All those things, and this doesn't just go for things like bleach. Similarly to during COVID, what was everybody doing? Spraying Lysol everywhere. Yeah. The Lysol in the countertops, everything. Yeah. All that stuff in the air is toxic. Just coming up into the apartment today, me and Dalton were in the hallway and they had a little fragrance machine. Yeah. And we were talking about how I hate that stuff. Yeah. You can like taste it. All that stuff we talked about earlier kills your endocrine system. So why do guys have low testosterone these days? It's because of all this shit that we're exposed to. And it's not even chemicals that we spray that we think of. Think about your cutting boards. Yeah. I think the average American, based on how much plastic, shards of plastic they get into their food from a traditional cutting board, you eat the equivalent of a credit card every year in plastic.
Yeah, so how does that happen? You guys may have plastic cutting boards, and if you have a sharp knife or whatever, some of that, just take your knife on there with no food and just run it a couple of times. And then just tip it up and tap it on the counter and see if there's any plastic that lands on the counter. If there is, that amount of plastic you're eating every time you use that cutting board.
Yeah. I mean, look at an old cutting board. You'll see it has grooves cut into it. Yeah. That's not just separating it. It's literally cutting it away like a saw. So you're going to have little pieces like sawdust or plastic dust coming off of that cutting board. And that's what you're eating. That's getting into your food.
Right. So here's some other things that could be causing, and let's just take a step back and say, hey guys, we're telling you this because 1, it's the truth, and not many people are going to tell you this. But 2, because it's there are alternatives. So you go, well, I don't know. I've been using this stuff. What do I use? You could use vinegar. There are essential oils. Mm-hmm. I mean, there are products available everywhere to replace chemical products, like for cleaning your laundry. Yeah. They have them that without toxic chemicals and plastic. I mean,
use a wooden cutting board,
and they're the same price. So it's you could easily just make a lateral shift. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's not so much of a big deal. Yeah. But then you think about guys and girls who love perfume and cologne. These have what are called aldehydes in them, but like Dr. Brian is saying, is that they mess up your hormones. So to just put it plain and simple, the hormone, our hormones for men are what drive us to accomplish things.
Yeah.
Like the more testosterone that men have, the more that there's a direct correlation of like achievement.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean an achievement in any way. Like whatever your goal is, like you're more inclined to go follow through with waking up, going to the gym. Maybe you're like want to build a house or like whatever it is that you do as a man. Like the more testosterone you have, the more you're going to go accomplish.
Yeah,
that.
studies have shown that higher testosterone is correlated with a higher propensity for effort, meaning the higher your testosterone is, the more you enjoy working. And if you want to live a better life, it's going to take work, but you want that work to feel good. That's what the benefits of having optimal hormone numbers are for you.
So let's talk about female hormones. Let's talk about birth control.
Yeah.
Now, the birth control brings progesterone up, is the hormone.
Yeah.
And so the challenge with that is that you're creating an environment in your body to create a higher probability for cancers.
Yeah.
So the more that, if you have daughters or you yourself are on birth control, like you may want to take a second look at that.
Yeah. And I also want to address the way that birth control is marketed or the way it's explained. Traditionally, if you ask like a young female who's on birth control what they were told about it, it's that they're told it confuses the body into thinking that it's pregnant already so that you can't get pregnant. Whereas the reality of it is birth control simply creates such a hormonal imbalance in the female body that it can't get pregnant.
Right.
So that's the difference there. It creates this hormonal flux. It messes up your hormones so that you're unable to achieve a pregnancy.
Yeah, crazy. And I mean, this is the thing. So why would somebody want to do that? Well, you want to have unprotected sex and finish together. I mean, hey, sometimes people want to do that, and sometimes that's happening, and whatever, whatever y'all are doing.
Again,
but
choices you make, life you want to live, are they congruent?
Right. And the thing is that how hard is it for people to get pregnant today? Like, because of the both components of low testosterone in man, and hormones in women, that they can't make babies.
Yeah.
This is why in vitro is so crazy right now. I mean, that's
people
expensive.
having trouble starting a family is becoming an epidemic. It truly is.
Yeah. All across the globe.
And I know that because of the transparency that some of my patients share with me, but you don't hear that often because failed pregnancy is not something that many people are very open to talk about. If somebody has a miscarriage, that's not something that they share with everybody.
It's so common, miscarriage.
But it's very, very common.
And so let's bring this back to chiropractic, because, there are people out there, you have patients where they came in and they were trying to do in vitro, and I'm like, dude, you need to go to you're in the right place.
Yeah.
Like, don't pay. They were trying to decide if they were going to pay for in vitro or go to the chiropractor.
Yeah.
And so I was like, go to the chiropractor, because the chiropractor, there was a biological reason that the energy in the part of their body, or the female's body, right in your low back, okay, right here, there's something going on. This is going to be like right above the butt, okay? We're talking like right here. You can see my butt. It's not very big, but there you go, like right about there, all right? She's having issues, and you take the x-rays, and she's got this big, massive kink in her spinal cord. And you're like, well, of course you can't get pregnant. Like, of course you can't get pregnant. Your body literally doesn't even have enough energy to carry the baby.
Yeah.
It can't create the necessary
The environment's not right.
Yeah. So this is the thing where it's like, hey, you guys could spend,
$25,000,
50, 75, 100, 6 figures on in vitro, and the reason the baby's not, I can't say it for everybody, but a lot of the time, the reason that it's not going through is because you got a nervous system problem.
Yeah.
And then you're coupled with like years of pumping your body full of these toxins that are robbing you of the opportunity to make a baby.
Yeah.
You know, like we're going to have another chiropractor on next weekend, and he actually specializes in chiropractic in pregnancies and all this kind of stuff. So stay tuned for that. But I mean, but then these patients now have a baby.
Exactly. I was going to say, fast forward.
Yeah.
The couple that Dalton was referring to, they came in, they both did full corrective care plans. They did a ton of red light therapy. They did extensive detoxification protocols, and I adjusted their baby on Wednesday. How cool is that?
Yeah. I mean, what was that? A year and a half ago?
Year and a half to maybe 2 years, because the baby's now almost 9 months old now.
Oh, well then, I mean, this is the thing. If it's 9 months old, then 9 months before that's a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And they must have came in only a few months before that. This is the thing. I mean, chiropractic is incredible, ladies and gentlemen. And so much of our peers have not gone out and explained what's possible with chiropractic. And that's why we have this podcast, because it's so important for students, people out there who just want to be healthy, and chiropractors out there who want to learn how to spread this message. This is the point, guys.
This is what you have to share with people. This is what you have to share with them so that they understand. We can't have more patients of I didn't know. That's the current state of where the chiropractic profession is at, but people need to know, because that's the biggest problem. If they're all saying I didn't know, we have to address that.
And it sucks. And chiropractors don't know either. It's not to say
that is the second part of the problem, is that the chiropractors don't know themselves.
And so this is the thing where it's like, we have an opportunity right now to make one of the greatest changes in the history of humanity for health. This is the point of why we keep coming on this podcast. Like, people are now, since COVID, like, they're looking for something else, because they're I think we're fucked over.
It's the biggest shift we've had. It's the, I think, super necessary distrust in traditional medicine, because we saw that it didn't work during COVID, and people are asking the question. Now, they're asking the question. Chiropractors have to take that responsibility of providing the answer.
Absolutely. It's an opportunity that we have. You know, the crazy thing is that you can look up myocarditis, like heart problems, related to the mRNA vaccine. And you'll see that there's challenges with the mRNA vaccine in people with their heart and their blood. I was taking blood at the office. And you can see, like, I take vials of blood, and you can see, I guess, with 100% certainty who took the vaccine and who did not. Because the blood of people who take the vaccine, the blood should just be like, if you imagine water with red dye in it, it just moves, like slushes around like water would. The people who had the vaccine, the blood would come out like that, but then after maybe 5 to 10 minutes, it was like sludge. Like, after 30 minutes, you could turn that vial upside down, and it would be stuck. Like, there would be air. Like, it wouldn't move down and just be stuck there. And be like, and so I started asking people, like, did you get the vaccine? And 100% of the people said yes. Like, it's crazy. So this is the thing, you know. Now, I don't want you to go thinking that just because if you had the vaccine that now you're doomed, because that's absolutely not the truth. But if you did get the vaccine, you're probably going to want to know how to move forward in a way that can reverse that process. You know what I mean? It's not a death sentence, but it is a challenge, and it will come up. Like,
it's gonna show itself at some point, and you want to be making sure that you're addressing it before it gets there.
Absolutely. I mean, they just had they're talking about indicting Bill Gates because of the Epstein files, showing that there's potential that he knew that the vaccination wasn't going to help in the way that they were claiming it was going to help. That would be crazy. I mean, first of all, for those of you that don't know, my Uncle Fred DiDomenico, and during this time of COVID, we were kicked off of every social media platform
for what we were saying. And ironically, the things that we were talking about were proven to be true.
Yeah.
It took a little bit of time, but we were kicked off for telling people the truth. Fascinating. And we're not going to stop either. We're going to keep saying the truth. You can't kick us off. We're never going to stop.
The cool thing now is everybody knows.
Yeah, exactly. Now we can put a research paper and go, hey, guess what? Hey, I'm not the first guy to test this theory. So this is it, guys. Like, I'm happy that we got 37 people here. Y'all have been on for a while. Kudos to you for getting some help. Can we get some like hands up? Like, can we get some love? Is it okay if we get some love in here? We're getting all fired up to see you guys.
If somebody can like comment or just say who's watching, just so we know, we can shout you guys out or just see who's on here.
Or if you want to be secretive, just put a little like quiet thing, or just put a 2 if you're like, don't say my name, but I just want you to know that I love you and I'm here. Come on, give us a comment, guys. Give us a comment. Anyways, okay, so we talked about cleaning supplies. We talked about plastics. Yep. We talked about like cologne, perfume, shampoo.
Yeah. Along those same lines, the same thing, like shampoo, conditioner, body wash, all those things that you're putting on your body that are going to leave harmful residues on you and have the same properties as the fragrances as well too, because they all most of those times those have fragrances in them as well.
Totally. I mean, if y'all girls, the tanning stuff that you do, all this doesn't have to be like a big thing where like you're like, oh no, everything I'm doing is poisoning me, and it's probably true. Hey, but here's the deal:
there are amazing products that are non-toxic.
Yeah, and some of them are expensive, some of them are the same price, some of them are cheaper. You can get a gallon of vinegar for pretty cheap.
Well, actually, if you guys, when it comes to the beauty products, if you guys took care of your gut, which then demonstrates better skin health, you might not need all those beauty products.
Yeah, that's the thing. There you go, Dr. B. If you went to the gym, maybe if you like weren't so tired, if you felt like you got like a good sleep pattern, if you didn't jam your head to your chest all the time looking at your phone, like it's crazy to see people, for all you women out there who are trying to be anti-aging, like there are ways that you can create longevity with your diet. Rub some beef tallow on your face. I mean, y'all are going to be doing what you're doing.
Decrease inflammation, because inflammation precedes all disease.
Yeah. Sweat your clothes. Like whatever clothes you got. Sometimes you got plastic clothes. You go to the gym in those plastic clothes, and then your body absorbs some of the microplastics through that.
Yeah.
I mean, I got a whole water system in here. Like, we only drink water that I know is purified. I got filters on the shower heads because it smells like chlorine. The thing is you're like, oh, chlorine's just detoxifying whatever bacteria, which is true. It does that. Again, it's kind of like bleach. Yes, it does that. I mean, but here's the thing is that you're detoxing all the bacteria on your body, and then when you take a hot shower, you're breathing the gas.
It's opening up all your pores. It's leaking through there.
Yeah, and fluoride is a whole other thing too, where we don't be needing the fluoride. So get fluoride-free toothpaste. It's freaking awesome. But what about I know I don't want to be respectful of your time. Yeah. So what are things that we can talk about that are just mental health stuff? Exercise is just an incredible thing. Go outside.
Yeah. Well, exercise has been shown to be more effective than antidepressants. But the problem is most people don't have the energy to exercise.
Go see a chiropractor.
Yeah. Again, it all comes back to their starting. So how can you unlock that energy that you should have? But everybody, you need to exercise. And this might rub people the wrong way, but I'm sorry, guys, walking is not exercise.
Yeah.
Basic human locomotion, meaning getting from one place to the other on your feet, that's movement. We should be doing that anyway. We need to do extra strenuous activity on top of that. And for some people, it's different. I always ask my patients, what would you like to be doing? Some people, weight training is amazing. you can't ignore the research benefit of weight training and longevity, because having good bone density, having muscle mass, all helps you as you age, because those are typically what people lose. Look at, as people age, the frailty becomes an issue, and especially with women, bone density becomes an issue. How do you solve that? Simply weight train. But there's other things you could be doing. Martial arts, jiu-jitsu. You tick a couple boxes there. You get the physical activity, and you also create socialization. What's a big part of longevity and health is community, having good quality relationships with the people that you train with.
Go to community events, guys. Like, go to a farmer's market. Like, this is the things. Like, we live in an apartment complex here in Buckhead, and they have community events every week. There's something going on, and that's part of the reason why we chose to be here, because we're able to go out and meet people. And if you guys feel like, well, I'm not really like the social type, like, go be social with non-social people.
Yeah. Try to find a place where you're around people like you, or maybe like the way they communicate. You're like, you know what? I didn't think I was social. I was just around the wrong people.
Yeah.
Go to one of these run clubs that they have these days. We're lucky enough in Atlanta. We have the Beltline. They have all these cool run clubs where they play music. They'll start at a coffee shop. They'll, everybody will have coffee together and then hit like a 5K. Yeah. And then if you like running, it's cool because you get your workout in, but you're also around like-minded people.
Totally. I mean, go to freaking, they have Dragon Con, which is like, hey, if you feel like you're non-social, but there's a big ass group of people. I mean, I don't know how many, but thousands of people who show up to this event, and they all nerd out together. Like, find that. Like find your peeps, guys. Like, it doesn't matter what you want to do. Like, there's people out there for you. The internet is real.
Use it for the right reasons.
Yeah, totally. And it's like, believe in yourself, like, this is why I got daily affirmations, like, for me, what I tell myself is the most important aspect of how I continue to move through this world. Like, what my identity, I choose my identity. I'm not told what it is. Like, my identity comes from what I believe about myself, and that's true for everybody. People like to choose to be a victim of their environment, and because somebody else called them a name, they adopt that belief. And the reality is, you're choosing to adopt that belief, even though it might not feel like it at the time, and even though whatever that person said may not be like very nice, or it could be totally demoralizing, but it's your choice to adopt that belief for yourself. And it's also a choice to go, hey, I'm sorry that that's how you feel, but that's not me. You got me fucked up. Like, I was at school and I was sitting in the class by myself. It's like a 200 person class. I'm the only one in there. I'm studying for something. Teacher walks in and he goes, what are you doing here? And I was like, oh, I'm just studying. But if you're having a class, like, it's all good. And he goes, well, you can get the hell out of here. And I said, excuse me? Listen, you got me fucked up. I don't care who you are. That's disrespectful. You're a teacher here? I go, hey, yo. And I was like, what'd you say? He goes, you can get the hell out of here. And so I go, do you treat everybody this way, or you just decided to do that to me today? Like, is this just how you communicate with everybody? That's wild. I mean, you're pretty likable, Are you this lovable to everybody or just me? And so he like was stunned by that, but I felt, like, you're gonna fucking acknowledge me in this moment now. That you can't just walk away from that. I was a question. Yeah. So then I packed up my stuff and I walked right up to him, and he goes, have a good day. And I go, listen, I don't know who the fuck you think that you are, but you don't talk to me that way. Yeah. So, like, I don't know if you had a bad day, or you're not, your wife's not fucking you, but like, that's not how you're going to talk to me. I want to have a good relationship with you, because you're going to have to be my teacher at some point. So, like, don't say that to me. I don't know. I mean, I wasn't stuttering like I am now. I'm trying to remember what I said, but it was strong. And I went straight up to him and looked him right in the eye, like, hey, you got me fucked up. You think I'm a bitch enough to just kick me out of the classroom, and that's not who I am. And I'm not here to start a fight with the teacher. I was just like, yo, bro, like, this is not how this is going.
Yeah.
So you're going to respect me, or like, we'll just have to talk. We'll take it to the next level. I don't give a shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, I got people at school now where, you know, I was trying to like go somewhere for work. You know, they excuse somebody for a test to go with their boyfriend because the boyfriend's graduating.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't go to get money to feed my family.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm like, so I took it up to the highest level. Like, hey, just because 8 people are telling me that it's not allowed, like, I get it's not allowed, but like an excused absence is like a death or sickness, and
Mm-hmm.
going to your boyfriend's graduation is neither of those.
Neither,
So
yeah.
why was that person accepted
Mm-hmm.
to switch her exam and I wasn't? This is where it's like, hey, it's all good, but like, we're talking about identity here.
Yeah.
Where like I'm able to show up like that, not because I'm like want to fight everybody all the time, but because I tell myself who I am every day. You know, my affirmations are pretty awesome.
Well, they create standards.
They create
Yeah.
standards. Yeah. And it's okay. Like, hey, I don't blame that teacher. He's probably having a bad day. And I've seen him a few times since, and there's like no issues because I didn't create a problem. And even though I'm fired up about it now, in the moment, it was easy to just be like, yo, bro, like, I want to have a good relationship with you so you can choose in this moment what that's going to be. We can either have a good relationship now and we can let this go and you can respect who I am, or like it'll be something else. And so he apologized to me. He's like, hey, I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, there's no reason for that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, I mean, I tell myself that I'm universal love. When people see me, they feel universal love. Universal light shines in me and radically radiates out of me, sharing my light to the darkness that seeks it. I see heaven on earth. I feel that heaven is earth. I fulfill all of my desires. I bring peace and understanding to my environment. This is why I'm able to go do that, is because I tell myself all these things. You see these? They're just going to go on forever. These are my affirmations that I tell myself every day. Look at that. Oh, there's a lot. There's like a few hundred of them in there.
That's awesome.
So it's like, this is the point where like, if you have your life and you're like, I'm not really digging it, then what are you telling yourself that's putting you in the place that you're at?
Mm-hmm.
It's always true that no matter where you are in life, you're there because of what you believe about yourself.
Yeah.
So what are you telling yourself? Where do you want to go? And what would you have to tell yourself to get to that next level? These daily affirmations, when I first wrote them, were so far out of like reality to me. Like, I knew that I was just telling myself these affirmations, knowing that I wasn't actually living what I was telling myself. But this is a fascinating thing about our brains. The part of our brain that processes our imagination and the part of our brain that processes all 5 senses is exactly the same. What that means is that your brain doesn't know the difference between what you imagine and what is actually happening.
Yeah.
So this is when they do tests with people who like will imagine working out. And they imagine what their body feels like being bigger and stronger. And these people don't work out. You know, they have like 3 groups. People who don't imagine anything. People who just like imagine what it was like to have a big, you know, imagine what it would be like to work out. And then the 3rd group is like so specific. Like, what does it feel like when you grab a fist? Like, what does it feel like opening the door when you're this strong? What does it feel like when you pick up your child? Or what does it feel like to pick up a bag of ice?
Mm-hmm.
Or what does it feel like to bench press 300 pounds? And these people are like so deep into this imagination. And again, no one of the 3 groups worked out, but the group that imagined so deeply, they started to build muscle mass without working out.
That's awesome.
Because their brain,
Yeah.
it doesn't know the difference. So
Yeah.
you're imagining working out, now your brain is releasing the hormones and the proteins that help you build muscle mass. That's insane. So if you think about what are your thoughts, this comes back to chiropractic. The things that create subluxations in our body, meaning the things that shut our energy down, come from our thoughts, toxins in the world, which is what we're talking about, and home, and trauma, which is like a car accident, football, like getting hit in the head, having abusive relationships, or whatever. So your thoughts release hormones. The more terrible thoughts that you have about yourself, the less energy that your body has. And our body is binary, meaning that our body moves in two directions. It moves towards the state of health, or it moves towards the state of disease. Each cell in your body divides and replicates, meaning like it creates a new cell. All right? Every 9 months, every aspect of your body is brand new. Yeah. So like you have a new set of kidneys, you have a new heart, you got a new set of skin. Like your body regenerates all the time. And it regenerates stronger or it regenerates weaker.
So
that's it.
You guys have the power by what decisions you make.
Right.
To determine whether or not you replicate stronger or weaker. Exactly.
And again, you know, being healthy is not a destination. And you can attain. Okay, we back? Yo. Okay, we got 2 left. Dang. We had such a big group and then it kicked us off.
Almost 40 people on it.
Yeah. That's okay. So here's the deal. Your body replicates with strength or it replicates with weakness. And we have the ability to take all these aspects of our life, whether it's in chiropractic, with your nervous system, the food that you eat, the things that you're exposing yourself to, and then what you believe about yourself. And so whatever you believe about yourself can help you live a better life. This is like spirituality. This is like being close to God and whatever religion that you practice, you know?
Yeah. I mean, I truly believe that your internal thoughts are just your external reality before it happens, because whatever happens inside then presents itself externally to you. So if you just start by having that positive internal environment, then your physical reality that happens will just represent those positive thoughts from the inside.
Yeah.
Think about the most negative person in your life. Everybody has that person. Like if their name showed up as they were calling you, you'd be like, oh shit. It's because you know that he or she is just a negative person, and then it's just this vicious cycle. They create more and more negativity within their life.
Yeah, it's true. And this is the thing about having, you know, a great group of people around you. So it's like, hey, you know, if you have a positive group of people around you, you're going to continue to thrive. And if you have a group of people around you who are always down in the dumps, like you probably feel that way.
Yeah.
If we were to take the 5 people that you spend the most time with, not your favorite 5 people, just 5 people that you are around the most. It could be your boss. It could be a coworker. It could be maybe you're in school and you're with your teacher. I mean, it could be your spouse. It could be your best friend that you live with. It could be a roommate that you don't even know, but is always in the house with you. Like, you know, like whatever those people's thoughts and beliefs are, typically you will share them. Even if you live with somebody who has opposite beliefs of you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's crazy how united we always want to be. We always want to be connected to each other.
Yeah. Even the most introverted people, the most shy people, there is still some aspect of human connection that we all crave.
Yeah. It's true. This is why being around Dr. Fogel and being in a healthy environment and being in is so easy to be. It's easy to be healthy with people.
Yeah.
This is why my brother and I are doing the 25 push-ups, sit-ups, squats, and glute bridges, because it's just easier to do it with community.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, and we hold each other accountable, but in the best way possible.
Yeah. Nice. Well,
Awesome.
we freaking crushed it today, dude.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Most viewers.
And they stayed
what
on
did we
for
stream
over
for?
an hour.
Almost 2.5 hours.
I know. That
That's
was
awesome.
pretty good. You got 2 people left. If you guys are here, can we know who you are? The 2 people left.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say Bella's one of them.
Bella, if you're one of them, tell us. We got kicked off, so I appreciate you guys coming back on to see what was coming up next. We do have, we'll have Dr. B on again.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we got to keep doing it. So we're going to be starting up so many new things, not this next week, but the week after that, like Monday. Okay. We got all this time off. I've got podcasts coming out. We have the live ones. I have Dr. B's first podcast. I've been finishing up school. So this next week, we're going to be coming out with so many awesome things for you. And we're also going to be premiering some new ways that we can create a community together. Yeah. Thanks, Bella.
Nice.
Killed it. Crushing it. Too much rock and roll for one hand. Look at this. We could be like this on this one. Boom.
Like a 2-headed deer.
Yeah. All right. We love you guys.
Thanks, guys.
Okay.